Welcome to Water Plus. This was a Level 4 studio unit in Master of Landscape Architecture program at CEPT University, which was offered in Monsoon 2021. Our teaching team constitutes myself, Chandrani Chakrabarti, along with Priyal Shah. Our teaching associate was Shrestha Vagre. The unit focuses on the link between water ecology and community. With urbanization, the role of urban river changes. To meet the demand of people as alternative means of water resources are imagined for the cities, people gradually disassociate from the river. Hence, with time, the urban rivers are neglected and forgotten. In absence of inner city public spaces, it is important to reimagine the river edges as the civic destination for the 21st century. Coming to why urban rivers? As mentioned, urban rivers go through the vicious cycle of dependence, negligence, degradation, and slowly becomes an eyesore, from dumping garbage, sewage, or simply left underutilized. And there has never been a more urgent need to restore these damaged river ecosystems than now. Coupled with this, United Nations have declared this decade 2021 to 2030 as the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. The clock is ticking and the time is now. Looking across the globe, we see an era of environmental protection and a similar drive to revive urban rivers. Projects are centered around the water edge, be it about increasing biodiversity of a neglected concrete storm drain or reimagining the underutilized industrial riverbank. Coming to question why here? By 2030, Ahmedabad-Gandhinagar agglomeration is projected to emerge as a megacity. The 28.3 kilometer phase 2 of Ahmedabad Metro project would link the northward developing areas of Ahmedabad as well as parts of Gandhinagar. This agglomeration will have a riverfront exceeding a length of 30 km. Ahmedabad has already set an example in riverfront development by designing the 11-kilometer long civic riverfront at the center of the city. Hence the question arises, how can we reimagine this edge to strike a balance between ecology and community? In order to artificially hold water, the seasonal Sabarmati River is fed by Narmada Canal and has been intercepted with multiple dams to showcase water only next to the city. This has led to creation of undesirable patches north of Narmada Canal due to dried up riverbed, vacancy, and complete disconnection from the urban fabric. To sum up, the unit Water Plus hinges around these questions. Can we imagine an accessible social waterfront that is a great public space? Can this also be a dynamic working landscape that is resilient and responsive to the environmental fluctuations? By showcasing the natural process, can this also create awareness and allow positive engagement with water? Coming to the studio process, it is structured in 3 modules. Module 1, Halt to Prevent, Module 2, Design to Rejuvenate, and Module 3, Test to Evaluate. Module 1, Halt to Prevent. This first module builds understanding and recording of site at a larger scale. Students worked in groups of 3 to develop a collective master plan, frame a vision, and identify the potential sites of interest. Here, students started off by recording different site characteristics, like topography and its experience, character of the riverbed itself, vegetation grain, soil types. These are some output examples from Module 1. This group identified the disrupted connection, both physical and psychological, and tried to reconnect the ecology and community through different age typologies. Whereas this one looked at a shared soundscapes by creating habitats for identified 8 urban fauna which are threatened around the site. Module 2, Design to Rejuvenate. Moving along the framework set by the master plan, in the second module, students individually selected their sites of interest, analyzed the site conditions, and demonstrated a design solution that works at the intersection of ecology and social spaces. These are some output examples. Students started off by exploring programmatic requirements and then translating these programs on site and creating landscape types that work with the identified programs. The projects ranged along a wide gamut. For example, this project looked at the disturbed pockets on riverbed created by post-sand mining sites and now covered with Prosopis juliflora. Utilizing these depressions as points of water holding, designed microhabitats for urban fauna were created. Whereas here, the project envisioned bold landscape inserts along the major corridors of infrastructure cutting across the riverbed. Module 3 is Test to Evaluate. Since the resilience and dynamics of the landscape needs to be tested, students further evaluated parts of their design by short and long-term environmental changes like seasonal variation, phasing, and imagining future scenarios. These are some output examples from the studio. Here, the student detailed out the vegetation grain, keeping in mind how one can experience the life cycle of butterfly across seasons, and further mapped out how the diversity of butterfly and their related host and nectar plants will change over time. On a different note, this project looked at reviving the lost productive landscape along the existing village and testing on smaller plots to demonstrate seasonality and companion planting. And finally, designing a business model for the villagers where an app-based toolkit allows urban dwellers to buy pre-packed kits with companion planting. The studio learning outcomes are categorized in the buckets of skill building through soft engineering like hydrological mapping and urban ecology, and knowledge building through speculative detailed designs. This is the broad studio schedule that was conducted along with workshops and expert lectures. To sum up, when we deal with water, there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Hence, the Studio Water Plus assesses site-specific character, devises an ecological management plan, and creates an active urban waterfront that can support dynamic social program. On behalf of Water Plus Studio, we thank you for this opportunity.